thought I'd do a quick tour of old steelworks, or what you can see of it and what remains of it. And what I used to do is get on the bus from Rotherham, and just there you should be able to see the mushroom garage in front of you. I think there you can see it, that's the car on top of the mushroom garage. So I used to have a bus 19 from Dinnington into Rotherham, and then another bus from Rotherham to here, and then it's quite a long walk from here into the steelworks. So every day I'd have a 2 mile probably walk into the steelworks, and then more like a run, and then on the way home I'd have another 2 miles to get to the actual bus. So I'm just going to show you the points that I think are quite interesting, but none of this was around in those days. You've got Asda there, McDonald's, and various other things around here now. So anyway, I'll pick up at the next interesting feature, which will be the wash. Right, so now we're at the wash. Well, this is the South Yorkshire Navigational Canal, and that says Wash Lane Bridge. I've never noticed that before, but I've never spent the time. I was always passing through here very quickly. It's quite a wide canal, but I'm not really sure how they actually get the major boats through on here. I thought some of the boats were quite much bigger on the actual navigational canal. So I'll pop onto the other side and you'll see more how it's a canal. Alright, so we're on the other side. Somebody kindly let me across the road. I can't believe how busy it is here, but you can see how it's the canal on this side. Looks like a canal, sorry. Now this area here is a double-sized road now. Can't remember now if it was a double-sized road or not, but there used to be a toll bridge here, and some days if you're unlucky you have to pay a toll. But if I can remember rightly, if you said you worked at British Steel, there was no toll to pay. So what I'm going to do now is in fact I'll show you the actual wash bit. This is the canal bit of it. So a few hundred yards down here is the wash, and I'll pick back up at the wash. So we're now down at the wash. I'm not sure if this is what the river's called, but I'll find out when I get back home. Just took it for granted it's called the wash and that's it, but I'm going to go on the other side of the road, cross over and show you the actual wash itself. Alright, this is what's known as a wash. Took quite some time to get across there because of the volume of traffic. Just can't believe the traffic coming down here. Like I said, it used to have a toll cabin, and if you're unlucky some days you pay, but as far as I know I didn't pay. So but it's so long ago. I worked here back in the 1980s, but there's an awful lot of background noises you can hear, but hopefully you're hearing me above the background noise. So the next thing is I'm going to show you the soaking pit chimneys. So we're now here at the back end of the soaking pits, and these big chimneys are part of the soaking pits. What used to happen is there's a couple of arc furnaces here, and these arc furnaces used to melt the scrap steel, and then what used to happen after it had been poured into big ingots, they used to bring them onto the soaking pit, and then what they used to do is heat them up in the soaking pit until they were pretty warm. Then it'd go onto a cogging mill, if I remember rightly, and then once it went onto a cogging mill, it'd then go onto a rolling mill, and then it'd come out as I'm trying to think of the name now. I think it's billets, yeah, which is just like about 3 or 4 inch square long sections of steel, and that get chopped up into sections, and over there I can suck the building in. it says on the side of that building, finishing mill, up there. So I did some of my apprenticeship here. I had to work across at Steel Beach and Chosers on Sheffield Road, and also across here. I didn't like it over here because it was a 2-bus journey from home, and then a 2-mile walk from the mushroom garage to the steelworks, because I couldn't just get in here. I had to walk, and I'll show you the entrance where I used to walk into the actual steelworks. But this was all car parking. There'd have been hundreds if not thousands of cars here, and this is now redundant, the soaking pits, as far as I know, because what had happened now is, as far as I know, there's a concast here, and what the concast creates the billet straight away. So once you pour it out of the arc furnaces, it sort of goes into moulds and then comes out as long billets. So you've not got this process of reheating them in a soaking pit. I'll pop across the road and see if I can get a better angle on it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to see much from here. Alright, so we're on the other side of the road. You can see the soaking pit chimneys, and then right along up there you can see the finishing mill. So it's like Fort Knox around here. Used to be loads of cars. It was pretty open. Bit of security, but that was more just for lorries coming in and out. Never had to stop for the security that I can ever remember. Now, one of the funny things was I was in process control, and on the soaking pits they had thermocouples in the back wall. Now, I was only a young lad then, so I wasn't expected to do it, and I'm glad I moved on by then. But sometimes the actual thermocouples got damaged, and what they'd have to do is actually hammer the thermocouples back out, and then they would be in like a protective metal sheath, and then they'd shove the thermocouple back through the wall again with a new thermocouple. And well, the thermocouple, very simple, 2 different pieces of metal, and when that gets warm, those 2 different pieces of metal create a variance, current variance, and that's how they measure the temperature in the actual furnaces. So the next thing I'm going to show you in a minute is the original data centre for British Steel, which would have been a national thing in those days, going around the whole country, and I'll bring the video on when I get back down there. So we're now outside the actual computer centre. Now, when you're doing your apprenticeship, when I was a process control apprentice, you did a month in all the various different parts of the steelworks. So you had 2 years in a training centre, and also day release at college. We also had to spend a month in various different areas across this side of British Steel Rotherham, also on the Sheffield side of British Steel Rotherham. Now, I spent a month in here, and you wouldn't believe this, this was a plush computer data centre. I think it was the main one for the UK, but I can't remember enough about it to tell you the truth. I did travel across to Workington to a smaller data centre across there. Now, this was my opportunity to get out of the steel industry. They were shutting it down left, right and centre in the 1980s, and because I worked in this particular computer centre for a month, I came across a Mike Phillips, and Mike Phillips moved from British Steel to Midland Bank in those days in the telecommunications department, and we got offered jobs across at Midland Bank. So I'm thankful for this building, but it's really sad to see it redundant. You can't see it. There was a car park here, just to the right, just down there, big car park. It's all overgrown now. But one thing I did notice, when this building was working not long ago, the security around it, well, there was no security like this back in the 1980s. You just drove in, walked in the building and walked out. No, never, I can never remember security passes or anything like that, not like you would do nowadays. So but it's called Capgemini, so consulting technology outsourcing, that's what it ended up being. So basically I think it was the main data centre for the country, but as British Steel got sold off in bits, that was the end of it. So we'll go down next to the main offices. So we're now at the main entrance for Aldwarke. It's called Liberty Steels now. You can see the big office block, and I mean, this was absolutely packed with cars when I used to be at British Steel. There's nothing there anymore. Well, sorry, there's a few cars around the back and that's about it. And we used to come in through this main entrance here. Didn't have all this security like they have nowadays. I think it's just a total overreaction. You can see the security cabin. I can't ever remember stopping for the security coming in or out, just for lorries, loading and unloading. You can see all the big offices here. And these, as far as I know, were closed down for years. And then suddenly they spruced it up a little bit a few years ago. Painted it up a bit, and then a few cars have appeared, but nothing like when I used to be here. The laughable thing is, I did a 4-year apprenticeship. They shut the training centre down before I finished it, so I'm out on the steel plant, and I never even got a piece of paper to say I'd done a 4-year process control apprenticeship. The only way I got hold of any evidence of that was through Kevin Barron, my MP. He managed to get a copy of my entrance to and out of doing my process control apprenticeship. So I spent 5 years at British Steel, and I didn't realise I was actually a process control engineer. I weren't just a technician. So that's the main offices. But it's like you'd have to drive up here, go through that entrance gate, and it's about probably a mile or half a mile up that road. And then we used to have workshops for all the different process control sections across this area. So there was the main workshops which I spent most of my time in. So that's a quick tour. I can't show you a lot of the steelworks because I can't get in it, but I can give you an idea from the outside, and to me it looks pretty damn dead. I mean, it was a thriving, buzzing place over here while I was here, and to me it looks like a ghost town now. So that's it anyway, end of my quick video.